Who in these parts isn't looking for the perfect ride to fulfill their dream of van life? Campervans have always been very popular. No wonder. They are affordable, offer a decent amount of space and are suitable for everyday use to a certain extent. However, the off-road suitability of the new Crafter X-Works is rather limited. The 4-motion drive is suitable for dirt tracks, but when it comes to challenging terrain, an automatic Heldex clutch and lower suspension lift are no match. Of all conversion companies, Iglhaut, which specialises in Mercedes Sprinter and Vito, has now come up with a remedy. Explorer was the first all-wheel drive magazine given the opportunity to test the Crafter on off-road terrain.
Yes, basically, the Crafter is a Crafter is a Crafter. In other words, simply a great delivery van. 180 HP moves the car well. You have a fantastic overview up here. I really like the cockpit, it's got a good layout. The seats are comfortable, but they are an optional extra. The swivel seats with seat heating are definitely worth recommending. It's a great van for the long haul. I can really cruise along in comfort for really long distances. In this case, the gear ratio is a bit low, which means at 80 kilometers the gear ratio is already over 2000 revs, but you can certainly choose a higher gear ratio.
Ja, die Untersetzung ist gut genug, da kann man in aller Ruhe hier raufkrabbeln.
Yeah, the gear reduction is good enough, you can easily crawl up here. The engine has more than enough torque, and the 6-speed manual gearbox is a nice combination, but the Crafter also has an automatic transmission option.
Allerdings auch die Möglichkeit, den Crafter mit Automatik zu fahren.
It's easy to switch on the gear reduction, change gears in neutral, and then you can just keep going. There's no complicated electronics, but just a mechanical lever. There's nothing that can break.
Da kann nichts kaputt gehen.
The dashboard is certainly typical VW. There's air conditioning, ventilation and the big radio with touch display. One really good thing for off-roaders is the air control for the tires, which shows me in real time what tire pressure I have. Now that's a really useful feature when you're off-road. Also a nice touch for travelers, there's an amazing amount of storage. Here is another space, there are 2 in the door, up here are 3, there's something in that door and there are bottle holders here too. Naturally, this is very practical and convenient.
Now let's get into more challenging terrain. And this is where the Iglhaut Crafter really shows you what it's made of. The transfer box permanently delivers 50% power to both front and rear axles. The gear reduction lowers by a factor of 2.5 where necessary, and encourages our tester to put on a little bit of a sideshow.
So here you can see how low the gear reduction really is in first gear. I can easily climb the hill without having to have my foot hard on the accelerator. This is not a new technique to show where the front wheel is, but it's really impressive.
Another thing that's impressive, Iglhaut specifies the gradability at 80%, while the 4-motion Crafter is 60%, without gear reduction, as this isn't available from Volkswagen. There's also a diff lock on each axle and of course the central lock. One minor drawback, the position of the switch is outside the driver's field of vision at knee height. The Iglhaut Crafter wades through everything here, even with 80 tyres that are a little bit on the soft side and road air pressure. That means it's still got something in reserve. It's only bumpy, uneven tracks that quickly push it to its limit, a typical van shortcoming. The rear axle lock helps. The additional weight the conversion adds shouldn't be underestimated. It weighs in at around 300 kilos. Nevertheless, the pleasingly light Crafter in the 6-metre version still has a payload of around 1 tonne, which is enough for off-road capability, including payload reserves.
Wie man sieht, haben wir den Crafter.
As you can see, we've now put the Crafter through its paces a little bit and seen what it can do, but a short summary. What is the difference between the Iglhaut Crafter and the normal Crafter for motion? Let's start here. You can see that there's a lot of ground clearance. We have 15 centimeters more than with a factory all-wheel drive. Bigger tires, 245, 75, 16, and the most important thing is, it is a permanent all-wheel drive. That means I have a center differential, which is located about here. It's also good to see I have decent ground clearance, so I have a lot of space off-road.
Hier sitzt also auf der Höhe das Mitteldifferential.
The suspension doesn't change. I have a McPherson strut here at the front and a leaf spring suspension at the back. The whole thing is raised by blocks. We drove the complete setup in a classic 6-meter van. That means I also have a very short overhang here, which is great off-road of course, and has a nice slope angle. The headroom is also sufficient. The wheelbase is great, a great platform as the basis for an off-road camper.
However, there is one small detail. Volkswagen has not yet issued Iglhaut with a conversion certificate, and without that, the guarantee and warranty of the Crafter would be void. No certificate was yet available from Wolfsburg at the time of filming.
Now comes the question of for whom the vehicle would be good choice. The Crafter is well known, it's a great van to convert, it's got plenty of space, headroom, so that's great, but in this configuration I have to invest around 80,000 euros just in the bare chassis if I buy the Crafter from VW, and then I have to have it converted by Iglhaut. That means this vehicle would only be the right choice for those who really go off-road and can lock 3 diffs and utilize the large ground clearance. In other words, for those people who really want to let the van rip off-road.
The MAD TGE, which is identical in construction, is slightly cheaper.